And welcome back. This is it, the moment we have all been waiting for. It's the American Qualifier Finals here. Digital Chaos going against Team NP. One team will come out at the end of this best of three, qualified and going off into DAC, the land of China, to compete and hopefully win lots of sweet, awesome cash. It's all come down to this. What are you giggling about? I have CC&C joining me again as co-caster. Fogged is stuck in weather problems again, so Fogged is in the fog. I am very lucky and blessed, though, to have 8K Master CC&C here to bring all his awesome and sweet insight. Welcome back, brother. This is it. What many would expect, looking at the list of teams coming into this qualifier, that these would possibly be the top two. And wouldn't you believe it, it is going to be DC versus MP final again. How many qualifiers have these guys had to go head-to-head? I feel like too
A
many.
lot, and I don't think NP has ever taken a series off DC.
Oh. Oh, that makes this a bit more juicy then. I mean, that would make sense. Where have we seen MP like really at land? Maybe like
They lost
Summit?
to them. They lost to them at the major.
Yeah.
NP lost to DC. They lost to DC to drop down to the lower bracket to play Cole.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. There were a couple qualifiers.
I mean, they did win into Summit, but that's only because DC were invited. So, the bold dodge for them on that one. But yeah, since then, like, I think Dota Pit, they were also, but I'm not too sure. But we haven't seen MP on land since then. These guys are hungry. They're craving it. DC are already a team in that kind of position where, they have that win already of ESL Genting under their belt. Dota Pit was, something they're probably going to want to forget. But, if they make it, let's say, to this DSA LAN, there's a pretty likely chance that they could maybe even be considered as one of the invites. Team NP, I don't think they really have that chance at all. Maybe, though, if they make some ridiculous run here, take DAC, get first place, who knows, right? We saw it with, like, Vegas Squadron in the past. They, like, won ESL New York and then got the invite to the major just after that. So if MP have a dream of getting an invite, they'd have to like win this qualifier, no doubt, and then like win the land. So
I think you have to win DAC as NP to
they have to
get
like
an invite.
that's an anime in itself. They have to live that anime, right? This could be the beginning of that story. CC&C, it could be me and you pioneering that journey. Yeah, we could be there right at the beginning of the anime journey that NP could be going through. But it all starts here. This is like the first boss to them in the very first season. It's Digital Chaos.
DC's turn to ban.
Well, DC, this is a team who they feel like they probably just should have been invited to the event, the event to begin with, and are looking to prove.
Yeah, there were some semi-frustrated tweets.
Yeah, those passive-aggressive kind of tweets that they love to just get out there. But DC are just looking to prove that they're better than the rest. They've done that for the most part. Maybe they kind of like slipped up at the start of this qualifier run when they ran into Wanted and did drop that series, but they came right back at them later on in the qualifier and shut them down 2-0, and ever since then have been pretty damn dominant. So they're either going to be coming into the series looking to crush NP 2-0, or I don't know. If DC don't come to play, I think NP could creep in a bit of an upset.
Yeah, I think DC, like we talked about, probably is slight favorites, but the NP definitely not out of the ballpark. And their series almost always will go 3 games. NP will take, the first, second game, and then they just fall apart in the end. We'll have to see. It's a pretty hype series. This DAC is like mini TI basically.
Yeah, as far as I know, Valve is still kind of involved in some way. I mean, their name is kind of on the event. I don't know how much, I haven't seen a compendium yet or anything like that. It's not like last time where they built up into like this $3 million prize pool. Those details are not yet totally ironed out, but it is still a big deal. And as far as I know or have seen, Valve is still involved. So, yeah, if you want to be able to have a good future and kind of making it to other big prestigious Valve events, this is your time to really shine. Let's actually break into the draft now. It's game 1. We've made it through the first couple of picks, some a bit more obvious than others here. Leading in under the way here, Digital Chaos go right into the Lone Druid. So the Lone Druid meta still alive, at least for today. It kind of was a bit shy yesterday, because we did see the initial start of 7.02 yesterday, and the patch did kind of hit Lone Druid a bit, but here we're still seeing him played. Immediate Silencer pickup is a bit intriguing. MP pick up the Dazzle, and then a Beastmaster with their second grab.
Yeah,
DC's
you know,
turn
DC,
to
they don't
pick.
play this Radiance Druid ever. I think Complexity is the only team that really plays the Radiance Druid, so probably expect to see Resolution playing your stereotypical sniper wannabe Druid. This Beastmaster pick is kind of interesting. His talents all got buffed,
10
so he's
seconds
definitely stronger than
remaining.
he was last patch. But
Yeah.
first phase Beastmaster is not something
5
we see
seconds
traditionally
remaining.
that often at all. It works well from the minus armor from Dazzle, and also can kind of do the same thing that we saw the
Reserve
Sand
time.
King do in the last series, where you do sort of this dual
Radiant
offlane once
team
Beastmaster
pick.
has some levels, depending on how strong DC supports are. But yeah, we'll have to see how this pans out. And the Silencer also not a hero we see really that often in the first phase.
Yeah, the silencer was definitely one of the things that stood out to
10
me.
seconds
And as you
remaining.
mentioned, the Beastmaster, which we did see once. I'm trying
5
to bring it
seconds
up right now. I think it was DC who did actually play it
Reserve
yesterday
time.
here. I have the Dota buff. Here it is. Yes, they did play it yesterday in their matchup against Complexity in that winter bracket final. Uh, Mojo ran it, and I can't remember what made it so special or unique. In that particular game, they rolled with a core Vengeful Spirit
DC's
and then a
turn
mid
to
lane
pick.
Invoker. Oh, I remember also. I think this was the game they also ran a Misery support Clockwork. So it definitely was a funky draft there for MP, but they made it work and got the win in game 1. So I don't know. We'll see if Clockwork ends up showing up here soon.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that was you know, a lot of times whenever you see like these
5
kind of
seconds
strange first
remaining.
picks, they have a specific strategy or a specific way to play coming in, you know, in mind coming into the draft.
Reserve
Not to
time.
say that you just completely ignore the enemy's heroes, but it's sort of a school of thought that a lot of really successful teams have had in the past that you sort of stick to your guns, you pick the stuff you're strong at, and then you make slight adjustments based on what they pick.
Well, here we have DC now looking to shut down anything the Dazzle wants to get rolling with the Axe pickup. And get your lockdown, your tempo controller, and your heavy mid-game impact here in the hands of Moon. And, you know, something that could kind of have a bit of a feisty time with the Ursa in the laning phase if they end up getting matched up against each other. DC moving
Radiant
forward
team
here.
pick.
Pull out a Mirana pickup. All right. Mirana feels a little out left field. I don't know if this is reading to you as likely a wee mid lane Mirana or a support pairing with
10
Silencer.
seconds remaining.
Don't see that kind of support pairing at all. So I'm getting, you know, the itch that
5
this is going to be a
seconds
Weehaw mid Mirana. Am I way off the mark on that one? The Mirana feels weird to me.
Reserve time.
I think it could be. I think whenever you verse a Beastmaster or just in general vision heroes, you want a vision hero of your own, so you don't you know, get into the situation where they just know where you're moving all around the map at all times. You kind of just get kited around. So the Mirana sort of does that in that just kind of a vision hero for fights because it reduces their vision. So you can sort of kite around and like make sure they don't know where you are at all times with the Hawk. So I think that may have been what they're going for. I think also Potom is, you know, quite good versus the Ursa just because, you know, where people are constantly going invis, it's hard for him to jump in and blow one particular hero up. If the Beastmaster has a rough laning stage, which I think is pretty likely, versus a Silencer and a Lone Druid, and then potentially another support, this could, you know, still be a mid Mirana.
Yeah.
If it is rowing, then she can go around and mess with the Beastmaster, arrow the creeps he's trying to jungle.
That's true.
And just in general, I think DC almost always likes to have a more farm-oriented support that, you know, cleans up, that can actually clean up waves. And split push wall, or not even split push, but just a hero that has the potential to get out lanes and scales a little bit better as the game goes on. But like you said, it still could be a mid Mirana. I'll have to see.
You definitely made it sound more enticing that it was going to be something that Misery could pick up and just run around and be a pain in the ass to the Beastmaster. Oh my god, what an interesting day of drafts. And it just keeps coming here. MP move into a Medusa call. This comes after quite a bit of a wait as they chew through their reserve time. This is what they settle on here. And it's looking like an Envy Medusa too. We know Owie to play the Ursa, and it looks like the safe lane get up. So this is a mid lane Medusa into a yet to be picked up, possibly yet to be picked up mid laner from DC. So it feels a bit intriguing.
Reserve time.
Yeah, it definitely gives them some dope late game. Whenever you pick an Ursa, you want some hero that scales a little bit better for your mid. And Medusa is definitely a scaling hero. It's quite good versus Axe. and you know, pretty decent versus all of their heroes. To be honest, they don't have like an overwhelming amount of damage in DC's lineup. You don't look at their heroes and say, "Wow, they have so much damage." They definitely have damage, but it's not, you know, it's not these types of heroes that you think typically just trash on Medusa. They also don't get online super early.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
You know, the Axe wants to sort of sit and farm his Blink Dagger. He's not like a Slaughter that can go run around and fight
5
before he has that
seconds
online.
remaining.
So the Medusa should have a decent time early on, and if it is if it is a mid Mirana, the Medusa will have a nice time in the lane as well.
Pick.
I mean, it is certain if the Medusa does have a good time early, she is going to be the one to bring the late game. I just don't know how much they want to bank on going into a late game here if you're MP. So this last pick would be something to move as a good maybe 4-man unit along with the Beastmaster Ursa and maybe even the Dazzle to just try to make some action happen and make the space for the Medusa to turn into a problem. And what we imagine to be the Rose grab here. Lesh had been something of an option for them for quite a while, but I'm looking at a silencer and a lot of big bulky dudes that he might not be able to kind of easily break through.
5 seconds remaining.
So they'll settle for a Spear Breaker here to kind of make that
DC's
roaming action happen,
pick.
add the pressure on whoever this mid lane is, and even create a bit more of an easy lane setup for Envy, I guess.
Yeah, I think I don't think they're thinking of, you know, picking this Dusa saying we really want to go late game, but more of, you know, treating the Dusa as sort of the siege unit, like when our people picked, you know, Drow Medusa.
Remaining.
It's sort of you know, it's a nice ranged hero that gives you some pushing potential if she has a nice early
Reserve
start,
time.
but also if things, you know, do tick into the later stages, you have a hero that does scale better. And yeah, it is going to be the Misery, Mirana, and DZ saying, all right, if you want to have some, you know, late game potential, we'll pick some up of our own, and Invoker pairs extremely well against the Ursa as the game goes later.
Gives the Ursa, of course, a lot of a big boost. The Lone Druid gets the alacrity to kind of really siege away, and obviously, you know, EMP and Medusa is problems there. But what do you think about the Invoker versus Medusa mid lane matchup? You got, I mean, try not. There may be factors, of course, of like Spirit Breakers or third parties getting involved, arrows and such. But what more about the head-to-head?
I think it kind of depends on what, if he goes for Quad Spikes or Quad Spikes, or I think both. He farms fine. Maybe the Medusa has a better time if he's Quad Spikes early on, and then once, you know, you get to level 5, 6, the Medusa is just throwing out snakes and pushing waves, typically going back and farming jungle camps. So I think the Invoker will have a decent amount of kill potential onto him if onto the Medusa if he does go for the Quad Spikes and people rotate in. We'll have to see what he chooses to go for. They need to swap, I think, because they're all. Oh wait, alright. Okay, yeah, they were on like weird heroes for a second there. They swapped. Wait, what the heck? It spawned everybody on weird heroes for some reason. What the heck?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know we're not able to kind of see who picks what by the back end of the draft, and I know they don't have a strategy time, so I'm not too sure. Gotta get those immediate pauses in, so it kind of makes things a bit more awkward here.
I don't know if like everyone in the world misclicked or if it like there's some weird bug because everybody was on NP was on the wrong hero, and then Moon was on Invoker. I don't know who that was weird.
Well, everyone at least seems to be more sorted now. All right, looks like we're going to be able to get underway. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is your finals for the American Qualifier. We're about to get our best of 3 underway. By the conclusion of this, one team is going to be securing their trip to head out to the DAC land to compete. And as mentioned in the early part of this draft, MP and DC are a very familiar matchup in a lot of these qualifiers, and it had been DC who have been getting the most out of these qualifiers and continuing to pull out the win, but MP are looking for their own upset and finally a trip out to a land to kind of further their progression up the tier charts. But here we go early. Not looking to go so deep. They do drop the ward right by the shrine here in the bottom off lane of DC. Not going to be going all the way into the high ground for this one. But there is going to be trade of wards as DC plant one, a modest one. Not looking to go too deep either. So I can already feel like a lot of respect between these two teams, even just with the ward placements. Not looking to invade too deep and give away too much.
Yeah, it looks like we is also going to be going for the Quaswax Invoker. So not looking to give NP that early phase where they can just sort of run over. everybody and get that really good early start. But it actually looks like they're going to be putting the Ursa mid, so maybe anticipating that it was going to be the Quaslex Invoker and putting the Ursa versus him. And even if it was an Exort Invoker, the Ursa has a very nice time in that matchup. The Invoker's super slow and really, has some serious issues harassing his Ursa down. So AOI is going to be mid, and he is safe line with the Medusa.
Oh, okay. Do you think that once they see that, Misery's going to launch an arrow right over by where the bounty rune is? Do you think Misery is just going to pull his attention all the way towards the mid lane then to try to harass Owie out? Or do you think his priority should be on continuing to bully MSS maybe? Or does he have something else entirely in mind? Because as of right now, he's actually heading towards the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much he can really do versus the Ursa. 40-something damage right clicks versus the Portman Shield don't do the most. And you also want your Invoker to have, free reign as far as levels go, so we can get off to that good start level-wise. As the EMP is going to do work this game against a lot of NP's heroes. Almost all of them need mana to really do that much. So it's going to start in the jungle and then maybe migrate down to this bottom line to suck up some XP whenever his arrow is on cooldown.
Yeah. We're looking at the early head start here of the matchup between Invoker and the Ursa. Owie tries to shrug him back, so he's out of the XP range, but obviously will pose any sort of fight as Weeha's going to have to step off as much as possible and just utilize his range when he can here. And up in the top lane, we have MSS, who is going to be joined by the side of Rose in their dual lane matchup. Watch out for those boar heal bombs. And
Radiant's top tower
looking to try to maintain order is DC, working with their own pull camp here. But things pretty steady as of right now. The 2-1-2 matchup for NP just kind of creates a nice balance, and not too much that Envy's going to have to, worry about in the early game, it looks like.
Yeah, Axe must have gotten some insane creep spawns, because he's already level 3, almost level 4 after this camp.
It's not even 2 minutes yet. That's crazy. And not going to be seeing any sort of threat come his way. The only one who maybe could offer that would be SVG, but he's continuing to kind of be babysitter to Envy down here. Moon might show his face in the near future, and it's going to be a bit of a surprise here to NP. I mean, do you keep yourself hidden in the dark? Do you want to come out early? I mean, is this the opportunity you want to blast forward and try to get the blink in record kind of time?
We'll have to see. I think he may jungle these camps and then sort of gauge what he wants to do, as Misery was down in the bottom lane taking XP, so it's not all going to waste. And if they do go down here, there's not the most he can do. Just have the... Don't know what he bought, so I guess he has boots on the core, yeah. So I think it's much better for him to just start in the jungle this game, as he won't really get the most farm down here, and Misery can't really be zoned out the lane, so he can stay down here and get XP. Misery can arrow jungle creeps from time to time, while Moon just sits in the jungle and continues to farm up at an incredible rate. It's almost 3 minutes, and camp's going to be spawning again as well.
So it sounds like we're going to be seeing a lot of, a bit of passive play here, certainly from the side of DC. They're going to look to kind of build up a bit and just have Misery take the lane, but be careful. Moon to kind of work in the jungle. We can't be, too anxious in this. He obviously has to continue to dodge Owie and not be in his warpath. And with the dual lane happening up top, Resolution is just kind of working with what's in front of him, but he's only been able to get 11 CS. And you look at the other side, and MSS has 16 and 2. So, passive play for DC, but it's looking like a good head start for MP in the lanes.
Yeah, I think DC realizing how strong NP's lanes are, and sort of saying, alright, you can have these strong lanes, we'll get as much as we can, we'll make sure we don't feed in the lanes, and we'll have, a couple more greedy heroes. We'll have Moon sitting in the jungle, we'll have Misery going to this offlane instead, and messing with EE, getting whatever he can, and leaving our other cores to just sort of fend for themselves, because I don't think they need the most farm to be able to fight this game. Like we talked about in the previous series, Golden Druid can scale extremely well versus the Ursa once he gets up to some items, and obviously EMP, one of the best spells in the game versus Medusa.
So as they continue to work through the lanes here and build up to that kind of a point, we see mid lane, Owie eating the EMP. Got to be muscled back while up and above. Saksa gonna try to eat his way back under the safety of his own tower, eating lots of right clicks. The Savage Roar tries to come out and save him, but It's not going to stop him from getting the right click forward, and it's going to be Rose who picks up the first blood here for MP, but now could find himself in a bit of trouble. Moon is rolled in, actually miscalculates the dunk, but it doesn't matter. He'll be able to get the spin. Bricks the first one, though. That's, you know, come on, man. I want to see a dunk on the first dunk.
Yeah, Resolution's actually level 5. He can get a root here maybe on his first hit, but now Rose TPing in, nowhere really to get a kill here. And yeah, did get a haste here onto Rose, so they get the nice kill on Asaxa. Gonna continue to be a pretty dominant top lane as MSS up to 22 CS, 1k gold, so we'll see if he goes for that quick Necrobook, or some other players have been going for more of like a Vlad's Blink and then into a Necrobook a little bit later. You know, not going for this, just sit around and farm him, more of an active Beastmaster. I think Mind Control has gone for something like that. Moon Meander, so we'll see which style MSS goes for, and he does have the Necrobook queued up.
Yeah, I was saying, I believe also I saw it yesterday, Moon had gone for this similar kind of a build, doing back into the Necrobook, and I feel like he's like the only person who actually reads that book still. Really no other good Necrobook heroes in the meta at this moment. But the siege does continue, and the benefit of that aura just adds so much to any potential 5-man in the future for MP. As MSS will file himself back into the lane, we are going to be seeing Rose kind of rotate over here. While that happens, I also touch base with Moon after getting that nice successful first kill for DC. It looks like he's going to queue up and just try to rush his way for that blink, going cross-country between the jungle camps above and now towards this bottom lane. He's hoping to be able to pop out with a very early Blink Dagger here, because Misery continues to do fine in the bottom. He's level 5, getting closer to 6. He's got 17 and 2 CS. And Offlane Mirana was a thing way long ago, but I'm sure Misery was a part of that time.
Yeah, yeah, whenever you have a Medusa, you know, that's sort of one of the issues of Medusa and putting her in the safe lane is that she really has 0 kill potential on most offlaners, as Resolution goes down up top.
Set up with a Savage Roar from MSS. It's NP quickly swarming in as a 4-man unit to get the job done, so it would have been more of a surprise if they couldn't get the kill. They do so, and now they're looking to follow it up with a good siege onto this Tier 1 tower. No response seems to be coming out from MP at this moment. Sox obviously is just a lone little support silencer, can't really do much to stop him. He will pull aggro though with the curse, but it looks like MP are here on a mission. These boars even sieging away. Lots of damage coming out, they're going to be able to get it done. And that opens up some options for them to maybe start creeping into DC Woods and get those few, you know, offensive wards down. Oh, Moon. He's gobbled up so much farm on his side of the map that he's come across to MP side now. Runs into Envy for a little bit, but begins to head out the other direction. He's already broke past the 1k gold mark, so he's making good time towards this blink.
Yep, is the most farmed hero for DC right now, and sort of their shining hope. None of their other heroes really are too amazing at fighting right now, and you know, they're working on getting towards that. You know, once they have that blink, they have the phase boots now up on Weeha. Is going to be going for that Midas. They'll have some pretty decent fighting potential, even without, you know, the most items. And I think they'll just try and make some space for Resolution to catch up, as he's not in the greatest of states right now. Really wants to catch up a little bit, farm a couple of items, get up to Trez, Dragonlance. And they did get that nice deep ward before their tower was taken, so he can see MSS farming there and make sure he doesn't go down up in this top lane.
His team still hangs around him. It's nearby. Soxa spots out the bounty, grabs it. MSS so angry about it, just roars in his face. But they quickly swarm in. It looks like we happen to come across a haste rune here. Steps into the cold snap and starts poking at him a bit. Looking to save out the last hit made for Resolution. It's going to be a tornado that will snipe it down. MSS going to get dropped. Just trying to go for a bounty snipe. He will get slapped on the wrist and sent back home.
NP continuing to keep the pressure up, hitting this mid tower in the meanwhile. A lucky haste rune from Weehan, so he does get a cleanup kill there. Pretty happy with that, but all the meanwhile they get at least some chip damage in, 500 or so, so down to 800 tower or HP on this tower. Is EE pushing in the bottom lane as well, so NP realizing that DC, they don't have, you know, really their Blink Dagger online, the Mirana. Not a hero that's amazing at just going around and making stuff happen on her own, and same with Silencer. So they feel content to just sit and push in these lanes as far as they can, and NP taking advantage of this early period where they're really, really strong. As the game goes, you know, longer and longer, DC going to be very happy with you know, how their heroes scale.
What do you think about Envy as he's queued up what looks like a Lincoln Sphere here? Can't remember quite when the last Medusa meta, I know it was before even 7.0 was in town. Oh, might have to hold that thought. What's happening up here? Charge in for Moon. This man's trying to finish out his Blink Dagger. He's actually so close. He gets denied, and another couple of hundred gold is going to have to be farmed up. But, ooh, look at this. It looks like they will get the Tornado connection on SVG. And now he is frantically running for his life. A limp cow will get poked there. Finished off. MSS is also close, almost up in arms with Resolution, but will be able to creep away. The takedown of Moon, though, is nice. Stalls a little bit of extra time before he's able to get that Blink Dagger. But I was talking about Envy going for an early Lincoln Sphere. I thought that was something that was frowned upon the last time Medusa was relevant. Is that right, or is there something different about the Lincolns for this particular game?
I don't know if he has it. If he's, has it queued up just because it builds in the Perseverance and he wants just like a casual Perseverance or something for the regen or what, but I'm not really sure why he'd be going for Lincolns this game, as it doesn't really block. I guess it blocks like the last word, but that's, really all. The Cold Snap is kind of annoying as well. I'll have to see if he, goes through with it or just completing a Perseverance. I don't know if it's necessarily frowned upon. I think more that what was frowned upon was going like Dragonlance, into Manta, just because you sort of this hero that doesn't really do any damage, and you farm, kind of fast, but the Manta illusions don't really do the most. I think that was something Sumail tweeted about, stop, buying these items or something like that. I don't think Lincoln is the most frowned upon. It's just, kind of an expensive item on a hero that already doesn't do that much until she has a lot of items.
Yeah, fair enough. Envy dusting off the old Medusa, though. And we'll see where he continues to trek on forward. Not looking to slide away from this bottom lane, though, anytime soon. Doesn't have the teleport in case shit happens to really hit the fan elsewhere, but at the moment in time seems pretty content on getting things done down there. Owie, so close to that Blink Dagger. At that point, will things begin to change for MP? Is that the moment when they're going to do that four-man kind of a movement, create more space for Envy, try to take fights, or is there more to NP's game plan before they try to really, go on the prowl, if you will? Oh, top lane, have to hold that thought because they've already making their move. For Rose, it looks like Moon has that Blink Dagger and jumps right in. No dunk will be necessary here as he drops so fast. SVG is rolling in now through the south with the help of a Hawk. Maybe trying to get some sort of pickoff play, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any openings. It's going to be bottom lane where we might see a new opening. Moonlight Shadow and some TP rotations. It's a plan to get the jump onto Envy, TPing in from the tier 2 and the Shrine. 4 members here from DC trying to get this Medusa grab. Misery will cross paths, hit him up first with the Starfall, gets an arrow. It's pretty close though. Looks like Envy should be able to make it away from trouble.
Yep, nice game sense backing up after he gets that tower, and they don't get anything off of that, so now MP can be able to push out the other lanes. They move into bits. Moon actually jumping in. Rose maybe gonna go down.
He is down. Lots of spins there for him, but Owie wants vengeance. Can he get one more swipe for the finish? He needs another. SVG helps bash him in, but the tornado comes out from Weeha to look and lock him in place. SVG, Nether Strike, finally gets it done. MSS has shown up, and he sets it down with the big battle roar. It's going to be Owie who will get the finish there, and Saksa with no more mana will have to step away. MP with a good turnaround thanks to the rotation of MSS in this mid lane. Misery actually gets the arrow. Owie walks forward into it. A buyback will come out, and Moon wants to make the fight happen here. Owie charges forward, looking to go for Saksa. Finds himself dunked from the buyback of Moon, and DC just hunting on forward here to go for more. MSS tries to step back and behind the tree. Envy, though, dishes out the Stone Gaze. Moon has to call, get the armor. Is it going to be a dieback for Moon? It looks like it will be. He's going to get dropped. And now DC still content on fighting here, pushing towards under the tier 1 of MP's side, leaping back in. They're going to get the finish on Misery with a Tornado and a Starfall. Now they look to go on for Rose. He gets the Grave off, but the Cold Snaps lock him in place. Can he hide within the trees? Doesn't look like it. Tries to heal through it. A root on Envy now. DC chomp forward, and they're going to get that one too. It's DC with it's Misery with the double. And somehow DC have just pulled that all back with those last couple of pickoffs, taking out MSS, taking out Envy. Helps their case a lot, but what a ridiculously long fight. We're somehow now 6-9. DC taking the tier 1. Overall seems to be a net worth swing in their favor, though.
Yeah, Moon going, obviously dying back. Not really what you want to see on him, but they do get the tier 1 tower and clean up 2 of NP's cores, and that's something that DC is extremely good at. They pick these heroes that scale, well into the late game. They almost always have the heroes that scale better, and then they also are really good at taking fights at times that you wouldn't think they'd be strong. But they utilize these extremely small windows. They take towers, they just group up and bring them down, or realizing these extremely small windows, and they take advantage of them and doing it there, getting that really good fight, buying back on Moon. Misery just leaping into 3 heroes because he knew the roar was on cooldown. Just overall, really nice awareness from DC and taking that super good fight.
MP are back though for round 2. Aoi will be able to get the swing in and the finish on the tier 1, but DC, look at this, 4 of them packed by this spot within the trees. Misery will roll out, but there will be no ambush play here. MP have doubled back, and they're going to be going right in for the Roche pit. Aoi already going to work here. DC do not seem privy, but it looks like Misery has been able to lob out the arrow. Will give him the insight. Can DC do anything about it? There is a global silence here, but it looks like it's going to be too late. Aoi already had so many stacks built up that he's going to be able to shred through the remaining moments of the Roche, take the Aegis, and DC will have to back off and go back to their farm game.
Yep, it's kind of a much needed Roche for NP at this point. You can feel they're kind of getting dragged around the map. They're stuck around this mid lane now and looking for something to do. They do have the Necro Book 2 on MSS and grouping up around here, de-warding a little bit, and they may look to make a move soon as they draw a line down to bottom. So don't want to let the tower go down for free. They smoke up headed there, but it's dying very quickly. And DC with some very mobile heroes, tower going down pretty fast.
DC back off. They have drawn the attention from NP, but they're not looking to fight. Maybe not while they have that Aegis, or at least the upper hand at the start of a fight. Well, they see the bird. MP are coming all the way around, but obviously do not want to head uphill. So they'll take their business all the way across the lane. They're like almost running parallel to where DC are. From the bottom lane all the way up to the top. They're actually going to meet each other towards the next shrine. Moon not looking to commit on in, but it will scare MSS back. We'll give MP the bit of a read to see that DC are hanging towards the southern part of this map, so they'll just farm through the bottom. As now Envy's going to siege towards the tier 2 and try to force DC to respond back their way.
Yep, and DC don't want any of that. They realize that NP probably all grouped around here as they start beating into this tier 2, but Weehaw actually TPing back and wanting to catch this Medusa, or at least slow down their push.
Yeah, TP canceled. Weehaw's here though, but not looking to get too close. As DC are hanging around here, hoping to get the jump. Aoi jumps back down and gets the help on the finish here for the tier 2. All right, tier 2 down. MP back and maybe think about going for the tier 2 here in the bottom lane. DC have not fully pulled away yet from the top here. Resolution still gobbling up as much farm as he can. He is taking over in that top net worth on top of Envy. And for the first time today, we're seeing the good old 2017 Lone Druid here. So he's got the Dragon Lance ready to go, looking to build into your Maelstrom typical build up, and Resolution is looking to do Lone Druid right.
Yeah, he is sufficiently hipster. But yeah, I think Misery, as farmed as he is a real bright spot for DC right now. You can feel NP pressuring all around the map, taking a lot of the towers with only one tier 2 remaining. But I think DC kind of just waiting for Resolution to get a few more items up, maybe waiting for Misery to get up this Ags, and look for opportunities for where NP overstep and they can take a fight for the, they get these big items online. But once they have the Ag items, the Aegis on Aoi wears off, I think DC will be much more privy to looking for fights. But I don't think they're super scared of fighting as is, setting up, throwing down the meatball, and slowing down this push as much as possible.
2 minutes to go on this Aegis. The creep wave already taken out here from DC. Spamming out a couple of spells is pretty much no trouble to them at all. And it looks like at this point, MP may make the call to pull off here. It looks like Rose has met up with the Bear, who's going to be sniping up the Bounty Rune. And MP are not going to be able to make any sort of headway into the base on the back of this Aegis, it would look like. So DC are going to be granted now an opportunity to comfortably move more head-on into some fights if they'd like, but we're still waiting to see what kind of items they're looking to farm up first. I don't know if it's been mentioned yet, but a Maelstrom also going to be farmed up here, it looks like on Weehaw too, on the Invoker.
Yeah, he's going for the build he does on Qualifier Invoker. I think one of the only players that goes for this Vanguard. I think just likes it for the HP and the tankiness it gives you. Um, it's not an item we typically see on ranged heroes, but he does it pretty consistently, so obviously thinks it's strong. And then we'll typically build into more of a right-click oriented Invoker whenever he goes for the Quas Wax. Whenever he goes Quas, Exor will do the the stereotypical items, the Midas, the bots, Ags, whatever. But he'll go for like Maelstrom and then into Hurricane Pike afterwards, and be more of a right-clicking Invoker whenever he does go for this Quas Wax Invoker.
All right, very cool. And obviously will help kind of continue more of that outspam, allowing DC to kind of take fights more on their terms. And Resolution already sporting his, as we can see here, as he also will move into pretty much an identical build. So they're going to be twins here, would appear, as a Hurricane Pike should be next for him. Moon Meander obviously had a bit of a hiccup along the way with that buyback, dieback situation to help maintain momentum for DC overall, as he will also go into a 4-staff. The name of the game is mobility here for DC, as we could find Owie in these fights in the future, constantly seeing his prey fly away from him with all this ridiculous mobility that DC are building together.
Yeah, it does have the Desto at the very least, so maybe he can jump in and burst a hero before they do get off the kiting spells. The Silencer Q comes out. And speaking of kiting, he does picked up the Ogre Frostmage with his HOD, so a really, really nice creep. Probably the best creep possible for them right now is, like we said, sort of the name of the game for DC right now is keeping NP off of them in these fights, stalling the fights for as long as possible, kiting around with the Potamolts, and Tornado, Axe Call, and just doing it over and over and over again. With the Frost Mage, putting that on every hero, it's going to make it considerably harder for this Ursa to burst down before he starts getting kited.
DC mow their way through this bottom lane and will finally take up this tier 1 tower. As this happens, NP mirror their way through the top lane as they're already making their approach towards the tier 2. And as you were talking about, there's the Desolator on Owie, so this man can siege a tower pretty fast here. I don't know if we get into a base race kind of a situation. Both these teams have a serious amount of ammunition. I mean, look at one side, you got the Alacrity Bear. These Maelstroms are running away on their farm. On the other side, you have MP, Deso, Ursa. You got, Beastmaster, Aura. Both these teams can push base real fast here. And it does look like it's going to prompt DC to kind of step back to this top lane. MP will see this. They step back a bit. And they reevaluate the situation a bit further.
Yeah, I think they're quite happy with how the game is going right now, or at least content with it. They're getting farm on all their heroes. And they know as the game goes later and later, NPs, of course, are going to have a hard time sticking on to particular heroes and actually getting their damage in.
Jump call there to grab MV and draw him back into the base as Moon will slide away from it. He spits out the Stone Gaze, and with the Global Silence on top of it, they look to step back out. Total space creation from both fronts. Now they're jumping from Owie, look to go right for Misery. He pulls out the Moonlight Shadow. Is he going to get knocked down? The charge comes forward from SVG to continue to lock him in place. They'll get him down, plus Weehaw, who's going to be forced to buy back. The follow-up charge and hit onto Moon will take him out too. He has no buyback for this fight. MP take a good hard shot and then try to step back out with inside. Step back out from inside. SVG not going to be so fortunate. He will be taken down. MP might be satisfied with this, it looks like, and step away. They don't get any further damage onto the tier 3, but multiple takedowns and a Weehaw buyback is going to be satisfying enough for them.
Yeah, they the reinitiation from AUI not letting the Medusa get jumped down or get chased. As he did dodge the EMP, walked into the base, so we actually putting a little bit behind him, and then NB walking into the base and dodging it, so not getting all of his mana burned immediately. And the nice reinitiation is Resolution actually going to go down top.
Yeah, he was farming out that lane, feeling so confident that there was going to be no trouble coming his way, figuring that MP had totally pulled out and away. MSS almost sniped right there. Just barely not enough damage. But, they didn't have the vision, I don't believe, in those woods to even see if it was safe or not, but I don't know. Now we find ourselves 10-10 as far as kills, but it is NP with a net worth advantage, just about 3K.
Yeah, even after those kills, and Resolution going down again, don't think they're too sad about how things are. They didn't lose the tier 3 tower, so NP not able to get those shrines. But the map is going to start to feel quite scary with a Beastmaster, and now having some deep wards up. NP is going to have quite a bit of control around the map. We can see it already paying off there, so they can kill in resolution. And now just starting to farm up all over the map. CEE back up on top, and then AUI just behind the Lone Druid. So Ursa not a hero that typically considered to be farming too quickly, but whenever you have control of the whole map and you're finding kills here and there, bringing down towers, and he can stay, up to par. Especially with that Dessa build, does quite a bit more damage to these creeps and able to farm up at a much better rate than Ursus normally are.
Can't help but give a small shout out again to Rose for somehow getting ridiculous farm on his Dazzle. This guy's got Yules, Aether Lens, Arcanes. He's got higher net worth than Moon, Zax. Guy continues to grind away the farm. Multiple games now as he sits by side of Owie as they farm away as a full 5-man buddy unit here. Huddled around their shrine, waiting for the approach from DC, who are now going to be committing with the Moonlight Shadow. Looks like they have spotted out the nearby Owie illusion. It's that delicate Roche time now. The secondary clock has been a little bit longer than normal, but looks like DC are already getting themselves into a position where they will be ready for a Roche fight soon enough. And I would imagine that MP want to have a say in the matter.
Yeah, they definitely want the Roche on probably the Medusa, so she can try and siege down these towers. Although it is very, very difficult for them to siege into this Axe and Invoker and the Lone Druid sniping from far away, as they're working on 2 Mjolnirs, so they're gonna get chipped out by these right clicks and then spam down. So I think, just getting the Aegis on one of their cores, so it's harder for DC have to kite even longer in these fights before they can start to bring heroes down. And MP probably just gonna look for map control with the Beastmaster, the Spirit Breaker. Anytime anyone shows in the lane, just running at them with everybody and bringing heroes down before they look to go high ground. But Resolution closing in on that level 20, so gonna narrow that sort of window of opportunity NP is looking for when he gets to that level 20.
Now, DC seemed to make a call to get everyone back to the base, and then Misery drew out the rotation to head down through bottom lane, but Roche is obviously up, and they begin heading that way. Envy will begin to see Moon, hits him with the snake right there. Moon will pop his Lincolns, but the Roche is already down, and it's going to be picked up again from Owie. DC are going to have to go back for a new game plan.
Yeah, a little bit of a deja vu scenario there. They come to contest the Roche, which is the second late. They have to back up and continue to farm an NP. Almost a Scotty now on EE. With AOI picking up the Aegis and now working towards that BKB. I think once they have that BKB, they're definitely going to be looking to take a fight, or even before then, as they are quite strong now, and DC sort of on the edge. They lose one fight, things could go downhill very, very quickly. At the very least, Resolution has picked up the Mjolnir, and we have almost there, has the Hyperstone now, and will be pretty close to the recipe after killing off these Ancients. So they are starting to scale a little bit in terms of items. Misery has the Blink Dagger now, as well as the Ags. Which is, building more and more into these kiting items, these long range, just chip at you, Mjolnir heroes, and Axe, as well, going to be going for this Yules. So all sort of in on this kiting, drag NP around, don't let the Ursa get hits in, and win the fights that way for DC.
But for MP, you said, it would be in their best interest to possibly take a fight. They may wait till the BKB is complete here on Owie, which it looks like it is now. Fresh 10 seconds there in his pocket, good to go. Obviously, in their case, it would be best if they found a way to take a fight or have a pick-off outside of the base and then begin their siege under this window of time with the Aegis. But I've also noticed that whenever, DC's going against an opponent and they manage to get the Aegis, DC are very good about avoiding fights and not, being in a precarious situation where they're going to be taking fights outside their base. At that point, do MP just begin to siege? Or what do you do at that point if they're not able to find a fight before trying to break into high ground? Do you just go for it anyways?
I don't think you take that risk. One bad fight and the game could turn around quite a bit for NP. I think they just need to go around. Looks like ARI is going to be cutting this top wave, so just get as many lanes in as you can at once and try and find a pickup with the Hawks. Maybe chip at buildings here or there if you realize DC are away from the base for too long, or they're going for some Mirana ult fight. Whatever, look for whatever small opportunities you can, but I think just brute forcing the base is probably one of the riskiest things NP could go for, and definitely a way that DC can get back into this game.
While MP begin to mow their way through that mid lane, we're watching Misery and Moon both try to continue to keep the pressure. Light of Heaven, seriously though. Try to keep the pressure there through the top lane and keep the pressure there. We are going to see the quick pick as Owie gets the jump onto Resolution. I actually missed that action. I'll blame Light of Heaven for that one. But here Owie, debut of the BKB, pretty damn successful. Lone Druid's down. He may be forced to buy back because MP's a coming. Just what they asked for.
Yeah, he was just a couple waves off of level 20, so has that full respawn timer not decreased by the 40 seconds.
Oh goodness, hit by an arrow and locked down. MSS tries to step in to help out, setting up the roar, but that will cost them their ages too. Buybacks begin to trickle in. DC looking to defend and hold. Envy still holds on to the ulti here, tries to get between all of them, but that's when the global will come out. The tier 3 is going to get dropped. Can they burst through Envy in time here? The call, the follow-up's there, the Yule's up Moon. He's going to look to pop off the ultimate now as soon as the silence is taken away, but he is just constantly disabled. He will lose his mana and not be able to get it off. He's trying to slither out. They'll hit him with the grave. He manages to survive, but will be forced to ultimately be dropped. DC get the upper hand and will be able to take him down. They have held their base, finishing off with a Weehaw double kill. It cost them a couple of buybacks, but they will only lose their tier 3.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. If even if they get a couple kills in the base, they took it exactly like they needed to. They jump in. Not letting them get kited too much, even though EE was sitting there just getting pounded on by all these heroes. They broke his Lincolns, he got cold snapped, and he just gets pounded on by these Mjolnir heroes. But they jump in, they get a couple of kills, but then the buybacks come, and they've already used the roar. And when this roar is down, when Spiritbreaker's already charged, Ursa doesn't really want to jump into the middle of all the DC heroes. They have Leap, the Axe, the Force Staff, and the Yules about to be completed. And DC just really strong at these base fights where they know where all of NP is. It's very structured, and they're able to just kite them around like we talked about.
And now DC looking to take in the rewards from a successful hold. They'll move down that mid lane, easily take the tier 2, and then quickly rush themselves on back. Looking to move into some farm, picking up the next couple of items, but they are obviously the team that feels more in control and can take the better team fight, and now there's not a Roche or an Aegis to kind of really worry about. I'm just curious to see how long it's going to take them before they're going to be able to cross the river here. It looks like a top lane to be able to kind of maintain order with. Bottom lane also needs a bit of help. So DC have some pieces to pick up, but then I imagine they'll look to go on the offensive soon enough. But before, look at this, before they're even able to kind of get their legs under them here from DC from the previous fight, MP are going to smoke and just go right back in for another one as they have the roar back up again. They're hoping to not let this game slip away.
Yep. At the very least, they do get the tier 3 towers, the shrines. They have access to those. But EE actually spread apart from his team, was trying to hit this bottom shrine. They may catch him here. Looks like they're going to run the opposite direction, thinking NP is maybe farming out their jungle, waiting for a fight bottom, but not the case. They are up top. So not going to find anything here other than a lane to push out. They're going to have to reset and try and look for stuff all over again. They are working towards 2 Lincolns on the Invoker and Resolution. So, like you said, sort of twinsies with their item builds here. But once they have those Lincolns, maybe even at some point getting one of the Axe if he gets really farmed. Yeah, that's what he does have queued up. They're really going to have issues getting in and jumping onto these heroes. If they're fast enough, they can throw them onto the supports. If those are the people, they get jumped. And I think DC is going to be really well suited to take these fights if they get up to having those Lincolns.
They gather here towards the mid lane. I thought maybe they would try to make the call for something. They have Moonlight Shadow up, but no smoke in hand. Could head up through where was the old secret shop. Ooh, an arrow connects onto an Invis MSS. Tries to go, jump in,
hit to break his invis.
Go for the call. He steps back, gets off his own roar. That's when the global comes out, and they run on forward here from NP, looking to mow right through him. They'll get the Weehaw takedown. He's out without a buyback because of the commitment to buy those items. Saksa also going to be taken out here. Ooh, a hard hit here for DC. Can NP capitalize on this window and make a lot out of it? Arrow will be sidestepped. They'll pop his Lincolns and try to slowly siege away. Owie going right for the tier 3. We have a minute of no Invoker. See how much they can get done with it.
At the very least, they did bring down the Necro Books as MSS popped him in that fight, I think, so not going to be able to use those to chip it down. They ping bottom, so they're going to go for this empty, or the naked racks as opposed to trying to take down the 2-3 towers. E migrates over as well.
bottom barracks are under
Now he
attack.
runs in, slashes, forces out a fortification here. Still 30 seconds for Weehaw. Envy inside the base. Manning up on the Misery. Now pops out the ulti. Misery obviously going to be forced to step back in a way. They're not going to get the finish for either. It's zoning him off. Howie looking to go back in for the Rax. There's going to be the lead in, the Yules. He tries to force himself back out. Now he'll use his own Yules on himself. Comes down and will get finished off. Tries his best to hold the order here in the bottom lane for as long as possible for Wee's return, but he loses his own life, and then they get the jump on Sucks and will take him out too. Double kill for Owie. This is going to be the bottom lane of Rax. Okay, Weehaw's back now. Arrow on Envy. Can DC punish? Misery gets jumped from behind, is going to be forced to quickly leap away. EMP going to get dropped in the middle. Owie already has no mana to work with. He'll rush on back. Envy digging out the snake. And look at this, another roar. Jump in from MSS. It's going to be on the weak. Can they finish him off again? They can. He's going to be out one more time without a buyback. Misery gets finished off. He dishes out his buyback. MP, they've gotten so much here. They might just run, and it looks like they will. They call the game. It's over. MP have done it. They have done it with that fight, with that push. They know it's over. Oh, man. All right, then. That was an intriguing ending because it felt like DC had the better team. They had everything really going for them, but MP did it. They found a great opening there, that smoke, that hustle to make it across, to take it to DC before they could really, you know, kind of realize that the game was theirs to kind of start moving forward with. MP just kind of already took it right back their direction, and I don't know. I don't know if it was being perplexed or not prepared, and DC just got rushed at inside their own front.
Yeah, we were always talking about how they needed to kite them around. That's how they wanted to play these fights. Play them slow, chip the Medusa down, chip the Ursa down, sort of like how Complexity wanted to play a couple of those games in the last series. And then, you know, NP once again with just this, we'll run at you, jump you, and take the fights very, very quickly, go in and out. And that's exactly what they did, AOI bursting heroes over and over again. And NP playing just a very, very clean game. And, you know, with a draft that they definitely needed to play cleanly, and they did. So NP taking game one, in a game where they were, you know, the slight underdogs.
Good for them. It's going to be a huge lead-in, and what is only a best-of-3. Remember, this is not a best-of-5 final. MP now have a big head start in a series, and already a foot in the door in a what could be huge rivalry here as these teams continue to go head-to-head in these kind of qualifiers. Will MP be able to get the early initiative here? We'll cut to a break. When we come back, it's Game 2 of your DAC American Qualifier Final, DC versus MP. That's CCNC. I'm Kyle Guy. We'll be back soon.